of males, which is a more so that means there is a much more centralization of power in few hands, which is happening. And agriculture is now just a sustenance agriculture, and also they have a problem of monkey menace, where the lot of the production of the agriculture is getting lost. And also what we find is that inequity also results, especially in the urban areas. Nearly 30% of the urban population is poor, and they do not have access, or they are kind of a slum kind of a situation where they do not have access to safe drinking water and sanitation. And this is the population which is highly vulnerable to the climate exigencies. And we have seen an example of water floods in Uttarakhand district in way back in 2013, where we have seen that these vulnerable population, how they were affected severely by this water disaster. The third typical characteristics is that this region is agriculture and tourism dependent economy, or in other words, agriculture and tourism means it is a water dependent economy. So somehow, if we have to make it water secure, we have to reduce the GDP water elasticity. That means we have to diversify in terms of economic activities away from agriculture and tourism. So how this can be done? I think that one is important, that we need to carry out a comprehensive study with respect to the cropping pattern which should be there. Now, the traditional cropping pattern, if you look at traditionally few centuries back, the Himalayan regions were more of agri-forestry kind of a thing, wherein large amount of agriculture and forestry system was there, where the forest remain intact and most of the agriculture production is coming through that route. So I would suggest, for an example, say bee farming. Bee farming is something which is low water intensive, low land intensive, and of course it creates large amount of surplus in terms of earning potential. So I think that we need to relook into the cropping pattern of the region. And also there are initiatives wherein we have tried to make checks and control of the migratory population, wherein I know a few districts in India where they have a control over the total number of tourist population that can be allowed. What is happening is that in most of these Himalayan regions, tourist population comes during summer season, which is the driest region of this region, and actually it is the local population which is severely affected by this huge influx of the migratory population. So that is the third thing that we really need to look into. The fourth thing that I observe is that the entire Himalayan ecosystem is a highly fragile ecosystem. At the same time, the climate change, as the EC mode report says, that is going to make the situation much more severe. So we need to really check the siltation problem because of the erosion which is happening, water related disasters which are happening, and water related disaster, nearly 30% of the losses are happening because of the floods, and nearly the same amount happening because of the droughts. So we need to ensure this. We also need to look into the minimum flows required in the river in order to control or to protect the aquatic life. So the point is that we need to carry out what is conventionally known as carrying capacity based studies. So I think that this is something which is highly needed in Himalayan regions, wherein we should carry out carrying capacity, wherein we can fix the amount of economic activities and human population that region can support with the given level of technology and financial investments available to them. So this is, I think, which is highly needed. We cannot assume that any ecosystem can absorb infinite population and economic activities. And the last point which I would like to mention is about the governance challenges. And as Fazia, you had rightly pointed out earlier, that one ecosystem is artificially fragmented into administrative boundaries, and we have a large amount of challenges with which actually most of the water challenges are transboundary in nature, not only with respect to the neighboring countries but also within the country between the neighboring states. And this is another challenge wherein we are not being able to proactively create right kind of a water infrastructure to address the economic scarcity of the region. So this is another thing we need to look into. And what is happening is that typical characteristic is that the urban areas are not that much proactively involved in the spring shed regeneration program. So it is always being considered that it is a rural based activities, and the urban population, which has a much more high per capita income, they are completely insulated from these participation into these activities. And what we see is that most of the spring shed regeneration program, there is a problem of upstream and downstream, because the recharge sites suitable for spring regeneration is at the upstream or some other location, whereas the beneficiaries are at some other location of that recharge. So that is another problem that we see. So these are the kind of a myriad challenges and that we need to address if we have to really go ahead with respect to things. So here again, I want to mention a very counterintuitive point, which perhaps many of my fellow panel speakers may not agree. I think that we need urbanization. I'm in favor of urbanization of mountainous region, but of course not urbanization in the form of large and mega cities, metro cities, but we need to create large number of urban nodes. Small urban areas, small urban centers, but uniformly spread throughout the region, because unless there are reasons why I'm in support of urbanization. First is that per capita income of an urban resident is nearly 3 times that of a rural resident. So unless the region is free of poverty, unless the region has surplus financial power and autonomy, they will not be able to create right kind of a infrastructure to address the challenges. As our late Prime Minister Indira Gandhi has said, that poverty is the biggest polluter. So I think that we need to increase the human development, we need to increase the per capita income, we need to reduce the stress on the agricultural land to create more space for the forest and other activities. So therefore, we need to observe the increasing population. That means we need to observe the distress population pressure in the rural areas. This has to be observed in the urban centers. Secondly, if the urban centers have right kind of strategies in place, like for example, treatment and reuse and recycling of water, and also with respect to the harnessing water and recharging these things. So these kind of investment, urban centers can do a very big role. And in fact, in tomorrow's presentation, I'm going to illustrate that even how urban centers can also be really water surplus. So it is not that we need to look into the urban areas in a negative sense. In fact, this is an opportunity that we need to create a tertiary sector of the economy by creating more urban nodes. And I think that to a large extent, it will be able to address the water security challenges. I think that is a counterintuitive point from my side. And
thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you, Professor Kansal,
for giving me time to speak out.
Very interesting, very interesting points that you have brought out. I think the first point on the Human Development Index. Overall, if you see, I think India, of course, is not faring too well when it comes to the HDI. But as it is, the 3 dimensions of HDI, the economic dimension of HDI, that's the income of the people, the health of the people, and the education of the people. I think definitely if we work upon all these 3 things, probably we can also think of having urbanization of our rural areas, or rather we say that strengthening our rural areas economically, how we can go about doing that. So if we have if we have strengthening of our rural areas, then probably it can prevent migration. It can help them to think better. They know scientific way of doing agriculture. They can adopt, they can have alternate methods of livelihood. So a lot of things can definitely happen. Again, the low GDP part, the inequity part, migration, how feminization of agriculture has happened in the place, and how the local population, is not just what we should consider, but we should also consider the pilgrimage and the tourism part of it, which actually influx that we have in that region, and how that is impacting the water security of the region. Thank you very much for these all the many points that you have brought out. And I will now move on to my 4th panelist, and Dr. Lindner, who's the Managing Director, School of Civil and Environmental Engineering, Technical University of Dresden, Germany. And I was looking at his CV, and I see a lot of things, change and landscape dynamics. So that's something that I would really like to know from you. How do we really go about taking a landscape approach to a problem like this, which is so intertwined in nature? So it's climate change, but land, water, community, security, all that together that we can really look at. So how can we really go for a more integrated approach? The second thing, often what we refer to as adaptation strategies actually are coping mechanisms. So we often confuse between coping mechanism and building adaptive capacity of people. So what would it entail when we talk about building adaptive capacities of the people in the region? So over to you, Dr. Lindner, for your thoughts.
Yeah, thank you very much for the kind introduction, and also thank you very much for inviting me to this online event, especially to Dr. Menuka, who I actually met here in Germany, in Dresden, during a postgraduate course she took. I will highlight this a little bit later. Unfortunately enough, I was able to visit Nepal shortly before the world went into a lockdown, like about 2 years ago. So although I'm really not an expert on the region, being there only once in Nepal, I try to also summarize what my former speakers said, and I would share some slides. Just a second. Should be possible.
Yes.
Just a second. Stop again.
It is visible. Thank you.
Yeah. Don't worry, I have to start the presentation first. Okay, now here we go. So I will take a little, like, a step back and also try to summarize some things and hopefully add to the discussion and also to some aspects we were already mentioned from my former speakers. And it's also, as already mentioned, a nice coincidence that there is Earth Day today. So happy Earth Day to everybody. Again, so I will talk a little bit about what I will name global conditions and exigent duties on water security and beyond. And I would like to start with a quote, which is from a white paper from the Leadership Group on Water Security in Asia. They said some years ago in their report that climate change is one of the key multidimensional issues that will affect water security throughout the Asian region. And it's commonly noted that mitigation is largely about gas, like greenhouse gas emissions, while adaptation is about water, a lot about water. And ecosystems transcend, of course, political borders, and water is the lifeline for all biological and also human systems, therefore. And attempts to contain water by geographies are bound to have serious consequences on the natural system and also increase economic and political tensions. So these are the challenges ahead, which were pointed out by this leadership group. And it's already clear that this can only be tackled in a multidisciplinary and also multi-dimensional manner. And maybe for all of us, we are going from a big planet in our small worlds more towards, when talking about also urbanization, it's becoming a small planet in a big world, more and more globally. And if you look at the socioeconomic trends or Earth system trends, you all know this, whether it's carbon dioxide or all the other aspects, you always see this hockey stick shape where we're accelerating into the Anthropocene, this new age we are now facing and we have to deal with. And as I said, whether it's water security or any other related issues, we have to work and think together. And I hope also this academy here is one of these small, but nevertheless very important points to foster this connected thinking. The World Economic Forum annually publishes this report on the global risks on our global economy. And I, on purpose, did hide the top 10 to maybe all the participants to briefly think about what are the top 10 threats to our global economy for the next 10 years. So before I will lift the secret, maybe you can think, maybe you can also use the chat. What's your guess? What are within these top 10? You see the categories above: economic, environmental, geopolitical, and so on. One more second. So this is this year's top 10. So on first place, you have climate action failure, extreme weather, biodiversity loss, and then followed by, of course, among others, infectious diseases, and so on, and also geo-economic confrontation, where just on a side note with the Ukrainian conflict now in Europe, this would be higher up the list, because this report was published before the war started in Ukraine. But what you can see is a pattern here, that the environmental factors are like not only this year, but also like the 10 years before. So it's nothing new that we have to take care about our environment, and we also want to continue to succeed economically. And of course, you have to look at this in an integrated way. Those things are interconnected. So biodiversity loss, for example, is directly related to this pandemic we are all facing with. And if we don't change our way we use the land, and we minimize, for example, our contact with wildlife, this will not be the last pandemic, potentially. And if you see on the epidemics before, like if it's COVID, Ebola, Zika, SARS, they are all caused by zoonosis. So they all come from animals to humans, and the risk is still there if you look at the numbers. So potentially there are quite a lot of viruses out there who can become dangerous to our human society. And what you can also see, that prevention is cheaper than dealing with the consequences. Also, of course, climate action failure directly relates to extreme weather, and this directly relates to livelihood crisis, especially in mountainous regions, where when extreme weather events cause, for example, landslides, especially also in urbanized regions, this can have catastrophic effects. And as also mentioned before, like we have to try to keep in our safe operating space, and we are far beyond this. So our planetary boundaries in terms of biosphere integrity, novel entities as recently quantified, that, for example, plastic pollution, whether in freshwater or marine water bodies, is an extreme risky thing. And also the way how we do agriculture, especially in the large scale, compromising our biochemical flows. And if you look in comparison, climate change is the easy one, which is quite scary, but of course they are all interconnected, and climate change interacts with all the others. And to get a hold on this, again, we have to think interconnected and also in a multilateral way. Otherwise, we will not be able to face these challenges. That it is possible is shown that if you look at the stratospheric ozone depletion, we are well again in the green zone in our safe operating space. End of the 80s, it was a complete different picture. So this is one example. If the world works together, we can really achieve a common goal. You're all aware of the Sustainable Development Goals, and I am a fan of this wedding cake structure of the Sustainable Development Goals, saying that the biosphere is the like the baseline for a healthy society, which then again is like the foundation for a fair and just economy. So basically, if we fail here in the biosphere, meaning goals 14, 15, 13, and 6, we are unable to reach the other goals. So, and also with this academy focusing on these two goals, and it was mentioned before by people who are far more experienced in the field of water security, these are the challenges there, and in the Himalayan region, and also on other places, of course. And this is also, whether it's the APN or also another thing we will come back later to a little bit more in detail, these global efforts have to be taken on in a multidimensional way. Also, this assessment report by the IPCC was mentioned before, and I just want to highlight a little bit also on how to communicate with the general public. So in the worst scenario, we're going towards a warming of 5 degrees or even more, the likelihood is estimated now at about 8%. So with a 92% probability, we will stay below this dramatic warming. And for most people, this sounds, well, that's not risky. We have 92% that will be below this extreme warning. So we are fine. But it really depends on the perspective. For example, if 8% of all planes would crash daily, this is 1,500 planes per day, nobody would fly, although the numbers are the same. So it's really a matter of perspective and topic, and we have to learn also to communicate as scientists, as a scientific community, to really communicate effectively with our target audience, so to say, whether it's decision makers or the general public. And we really have to work on this to also become better at this. And then last point, these famous 1.5 degrees, like why 1.5? It's in the media and all over the place. And if you look also at this graph from the IPCC, you see at 1.5% degrees Celsius warming, which, by the way, we reached on several spots on our planet already. You see the systems, or a lot of systems, are already compromised. So even if we are staying below 1.5, we will lose certain systems, certainly, or almost certainly. And especially looking at this context here, like terrestrial ecosystems are at risk. Fluvial flooding will increase at 1.5 and up. Heat-related morbidity, and also coastal flooding, although I know Nepal is a landlocked country, but Bangladesh isn't, for example. And this was also highlighted by the UNESCO photo of the year from last year. This is in the Sundarbans. It's on the Indian side. So the photo was taken in India, in the Sundarban region close to Bangladesh. And you see these tremendous effects of these coastal flooding events. And not only the coasts, also if you look at the urban context, city, whether in mountainous or in coastal areas, are prone to these extreme events. And I want to highlight this report, which was published by the G20 recently, which quite a good summary on smart and sustainable and resilient cities, especially regarding the power of nature-based solutions. How to tackle those challenges? I will give you only, like, as a kind of a transition to my colleague Firas, who will speak after the panel. We established these ABCD centers. So you will hear about this more detailed in a few minutes, but just an idea that we think in different sectors. First, of course, on water security and water resource management, but at the same time on ecosystem resilience and nature-based adaptation measures, and also bringing this knowledge into transfer and researching and also implementing transfer strategies for climate adaptation in an integrated way. Last not least, this is a picture, and you can maybe see this person here, which is Dr. Menuka. This picture was taken in 2019 here in Dresden, where she was a fellowship holder on the UNESCO BMU International Short Course on Soil and Land Resources for Sustainable Development. And I invite you also to visit the website of CIPSEM, who is the organization. I still work with them. Of course, they are part of TU Dresden, and where these courses are conducted and still are being conducted since 45 years now. So have a look, maybe consider to apply yourself or inform your colleagues. You're very welcome to do so, to make this a continuous success story in higher education and sustainable management for future decision makers. So thank you very much for your attention. It was a general, like, broader perspective view, but I hope I contributed a little bit to the further discussion, and thank you for the attention, and looking forward to some questions maybe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lindner. I think you've already brought out a lot of aspects from probably what we were really missing in terms of the multidisciplinarity and the multidimensional nature of the problem. Of course, how fast that image, that shows how fast we are accelerating into the Anthropocene. And the global risks, a very interesting thing about the global risk is, like, out of 10, 5 are related to environmental. So if you see, they're green, and 3 are societal. So only 1 is economic and 1 is geopolitical, and we don't have really in the top 10 risk as technology. So that means, all the solutions that we have been thinking all the time about technology probably doesn't really, any kind of technological risk doesn't really reflect in the top 10 risks which are there. So a little intrigued also I am, because when we have climate change and the extreme weather events, it does have an impact on technology as well. We have seen the series of hurricanes which happened in 2017 in the United States, and how it really damaged the entire energy and water infrastructure. Hurricane Mitch, which happened in Honduras, probably how it totally damaged the water infrastructure. So, but probably the technology could be the manifestation of a risk that is there, but not really a direct risk. So probably we have focused a lot on the technological side. I would really love you to reflect on that a little more, but also highlighting about the zoonotic diseases. And we are also overwhelmed with one COVID, and imagine something similar happening again and again and again. And at the same time, we have bacteria which are actually trapped under the glaciers for hundreds and millions of years. And if we have melting of glaciers, these would also get exposed and probably would result in more different kinds of diseases that are there. Also, your vector-borne diseases. For instance, if we have temperatures and humidity levels which probably would help in our vectors to grow, then vector-borne diseases like the dengue, the chikungunya, and all which we have been experiencing in India, perhaps would happen in other parts of the world as well. Also, what you highlighted about Sundarbans, that picture, of course, we all remember that picture, but how almost about 80-85% of the Sundarbans was damaged when we had Cyclone Amphan, and people have not been able to recover from that. So yes, climate change definitely has impact. The cake model of the SDG is very, very useful, wherein the biosphere becomes very critical. So thank you very much, and in fact, I will sort of open up for questions, but with a question to you on why is it that we don't see technology reflecting in the top 10 risks in the Global Risk Index?
Maybe I can start coming back, like not directly with an answer, but also what you mentioned before, like with coping capacity and adaptation ability, just some numbers. Talking about extreme events, you probably heard also about the extreme flooding we had last year in Germany, in the western part of Germany. And because there is this economic capacity here, Germany was able to provide immediately, more or less immediately, 30 billion euros of aid to the population there to recover, to rebuild. Now think, this is one extreme event in a so-called industrialized developed country. On the other hand, in the Paris Agreement, the Global North tried to commit to provide 100 billion US per year to the Global South to deal with, but not just for one event. There are so much. And also these 100 is not reached yet per year. And also it's not aid. Most of it is loans. So there is the capacity to then come up with adaptation measures is quite different. And there is still a steep imbalance in these so-called like two worlds. And this is also to consider. But also saying that in a highly technologized country like Germany, this can still happen. So here our warning system failed, communication failed. So we are not we have no shield against this as well here. And there will be more like this. Maybe this is an open starting point.
Thank you very much. I think I'll open it up for questions. If anybody has any question, you may raise your hand. You can just use the reactions button on your screen and you can raise your hand, or you can type your question in the chat box that's there. Yes, Dr. Al-Janabi, please.
Yeah, thank you very much for the very interesting event, and also thank you, Dr. Monica, for the invitation. Actually, from what have been discussed, and also from the background experience of my working with floods and urban areas, and also different topics, I think what we are missing in general is raising awareness, because a lot of people, they have the fact that they open the water, the tap water is running, they don't think about how difficult to get this water. And so one maybe element, a cheap element, could be to start by raising awareness everywhere globally, because if we depend only on adaptation later for solutions, then it's not going to happen all the time. I think a key factor is to raise awareness and to inform people, because we find big group of scientists discussing this, and the public is aware a little bit, but they don't know exactly what they are reaching. So maybe this is a key. This is just a comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think it's a very important comment. That awareness, of course, is very important. Sometimes people don't act because they aren't really aware, or they probably, somewhere it's complacency also that sets into people. So you have to keep reiterating things to them, saying that, if you are not doing this, then probably this is what would. So, and also the manifestations, they are not able to visualize till it starts to pinch them directly. So there are many such reasons. So I think very important to really focus on the awareness part of it. If any other question, if someone has a question, please raise your hand. Professor Kansal, I have a question for you till such time somebody raises their hand to ask a question. And it's about the governance part. Since you spoke about governance and you said that there is lack of governance. We often keep talking about, we have some very brilliant policies which are there. And I would try to link it to the HDI index that you spoke about, that we talk about health, economic development and education of people. How do you visualize this governance to be? Like we have water as a water, or we have certain things which are state subject, certain thing that's controlled by the center. We have also things which are with the local government that's there and is under the control of that. So where do you look at when you talk about governance gap that exists? Not to forget about the grassroots level social dynamics also that is there. Where do you really see the gap and think this gap can be filled? You'll have to unmute yourself, Professor Kansal.
Dr. Fajar, this is a very tough question to answer. So the point is that in India, we have been contemplating for quite some time about creating river basin authorities. So wherein, though the water remain as a state subject, but the entire governance of the entire river is being governed by a single authority cutting across all the states. So maybe in the Himalayan stretches also we need regional authorities, regional water authorities, and maybe these regional water authorities can coordinate with their counterpart in other neighboring countries. So I think that in the South Asia Himalayan region, all the countries have to really agree to create such kind of authorities who can take a unified decision for a common resource that we have. So that is one thing. Now, another problem is that water is so much linked with the economy that actually the geopolitical tensions are indirectly linked with water. Of course, whether we talk of all neighboring countries, Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, China, and all things, I think that though the dispute at times is being talked about in terms of political boundaries or line of actual thing, but actually it is more to do with water. So I think that more important is to recognize that if we, for global peace, we need to come up with a fair transparency in terms of our water resources, and we need to create, like we have World Resource Institute, which keeps on making inventory of the resources data. We need to create a kind of a regional where the membership of all the countries to have a common database wherein the academicians and researchers can really look into and come up with the innovative solutions towards the common challenges. So I think that creation of a common data center wherein all the countries and regions fairly share their data and have a repository, and secondly is creation of regional authorities for natural resources, I would say, not only for water, but most of these natural resources, but water is mostly flowing in nature across the boundaries. So I think that is another way of looking at the things.
Thank you very much, Professor Kansal. I agree with you that governance perhaps becomes very difficult thing to really address. And probably the whole concept of polycentric governance in terms of there are multiple centers of governance that exist. And if we really wish to look at it, we cannot ignore, we can look at federal and state and government and local government, but we have to also look at the informal governance structures which exist in our local systems as well. if we are managing to manage our water resources, of course, even our natural resources. Thank you. And Menuka, just one question for you as well. It's around, most of, we were talking about integrated approach in that region, and we said that all countries should come together to look at Hindukush Himalayan region. And whenever we wish to come together to focus on this, we are not able to find any place better than Nepal to really come together. So that's what we do always. So are you aware of, you highlighted, you said about that we really don't have aquifer level study that's happening, but do you see anyone coming together and talking about conducting an aquifer level study to really get a holistic understanding of the problem? Like Professor Kansal was also highlighting that the source of the spring could be somewhere else far away than from where the people are or the consumers are. So that could be far away. So that's, are you aware of any such study happening at a regional scale to address the problem of groundwater?
It's difficult to answer because I haven't searched it. Truly. But while reading about the groundwater, I saw some report from Punjab, your India state that is renowned for the agriculture production, but at the same time, there is a problem with the groundwater. You see, that reflect with the Kathmandu. And I also came to recently that there some studies happening individual level or research level in Bangladesh and also with the Bhutan. But till now, no idea. No idea means I haven't searched it and I haven't found it or didn't because that was not my area before. So not much idea about whether there is a cumulative action is taking on even in terms of like now we are working more on the surface water. Like when we are collaborating with these countries, we are more focusing on surface water, but I think people are now slowly going to the underground. Recently, we are also on invisible to visible. So we are talking about the slowly groundwater. So I'm a bit hopeful within some years, we will have to go to that direction because either it's India, Nepal or Pakistan or Bhutan, we are extraction of too much groundwater. So we will have to shift into the groundwater individually, yes, and individual research organizations, they are doing research work in individual countries, but I think for within some year, we will have to come together to make a, that regional study about the groundwater. With this, recently I visited the Department of Water Resource and Irrigation just to find out the information of our groundwater. They have a very patch of information about the groundwater, but recently the government is making a guideline in doing the inventory of underground water for all over the country. So this is also one good initiation. We don't have a national-wide data about the underground water, although unofficially, officially with because of individual research, we are seeing the underground water in the Kathmandu, especially Kathmandu is depletion in the Tarai region. But it is a good progress that is government is thinking. They making a guideline for the making an inventory, and I'm pretty sure India already have some done progress on that area, and I came to know Bhutan is also going on. So within some year we have to do it, but for now I don't have much idea about the collective action on the groundwater information on the research level. So this was
thank you, Dr. Menuka, and I see Dr. Linda raising his hand. So maybe your comments, please. Huh?
Yeah, I would come back to some aspects Professor Kansal raised also, because I worked in the climate change adaptation project in South America, like in the Andes, also a mountainous region, obviously. And there I was about to ask if you can observe the same pattern as follows, like that economic stressors, like you also emphasized on, like they enforce or enforce the people to certain behavior or certain procedures they do in agriculture, for example, what they know, which is bad in terms of adaptation, but they are forced to do so to feed their family, basically. So although they know better practices, they are forced by the economic situation to survive in the short term. They compromise their long-term sustainability. And I would assume that there is kind of a similar pattern also in Nepal, in the mountainous region, especially in these agricultural rural regions.
I'm not very sure that whether the people or the farmers in this region are very well aware of the new scientific techniques and how the better can be, because traditionally what happens, the farming practices and knowledge flows from one generation to another. So and since it is low in terms of literacy and low in terms of modern science and technology, the entire belt I'm talking about, so especially in the rural regions, so my assumption or my perception is that they have been continuing with the traditional practices of agriculture, wherein of course for the sustenance, the notion is that more water means more crop, more inputs of chemicals means more yield, and that is what they have been doing. And of course because of the poverty, they have been forced to remain sustenance agriculture, and wherein the most of the cash comes from the labors which out migrating family members have been sending back. So I'm not really very sure whether the communities are aware of good practices and the challenges which the water scarcity and climate change is going to bring, and how the adaptation capacity and can be built in and vulnerabilities can be reduced. And that is another reason why I think that it is important that we need to look into the revisit the cropping pattern, wherein I think that it is both a political motivation and as also research and academic motivation to really worked out that what kind of a cropping system, what kind of a crops has to be there in these regions. It cannot be always cash crop. I'm seeing that these days even rice is being grown in many of the water scarce regions of the some parts of the Himalayas. So I think that is the really seriously we need to look into the cropping pattern, and of course mass awareness of these type of modern agriculture and cropping systems has to be there. So my answer to is that I think that yes, I'm very sure. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think I agree with both of you. I think I agree with Dr. Lindner as well as Professor Kansal, with you as well, that one is economic stressors, what Dr. Lindner was talking about. Perhaps sometimes, for instance, if we take the example of Punjab, let's not take the example. They know that there is problem of cancer, widespread cancer in that region. And the reason also they are aware of that it could possibly be linked to their crops. Likewise, I have seen in the Ganga Basin, in the tannery belt also people have major skin problem. But sometimes they are not left with a choice. So they are constrained because if they change crop, for instance, what are the commercially viable crop? What is the support? What is the price that they're going to get for their crop? Probably they get constrained by that. Many regions I have seen that especially, we were doing a research, that landscape approach in Ganga Basin, and they grow sugarcane, for instance. There is ample amount of water and they just grow sugarcane, and they never leave the land fallow. They just keep growing one after another. They never allow the soil to heal on its own. And the reason is that there is a Sugarcane Act, there is a minimum support price that is there, and the government has actually given licenses to sugar mills to prosper in that region. So that becomes more, more conducive for them to really grow. So that's something that the other side of it is also lack of awareness, lack of education also, because a lot of government schemes are there in place which people are not able to actually adopt because of lack of awareness, lack of accessibility. Sometimes these schemes are online schemes and they just don't know how to actually apply for certain schemes, apply for certain subsidies which are there related to micro irrigation facilities which are there. So that's another thing that I've observed while working at the grassroots level. So these are all very great points. I think we can continue debating on this. Dr. Musharraf, are you there? Huh? Dr. Musharraf, if you are there and if you can switch on your video, I have one last question for you. Dr. Musharraf? Okay. So it seems Dr. Musharraf is not around, because I just wanted to understand from him, because Bangladesh is actually in the downstream of Brahmaputra and Ganga Basin. So their challenges, get further compounded. So I really wanted him to highlight what are the challenges that he is facing or their country is facing being in the downstream. But probably we can take up that question later. Many thanks to all the panelists. It was a very, very interesting discussion. Dr. Musharraf, Dr. Menuka, Professor Kansal, Dr. Linda, for this very, very insightful discussion. I think Dr. Sarah has some response from there, but we will move on to our last talk of the session. That's Introduction to the Global Water and Climate Adaptation in Germany. And for that, we have Dr. Firas Al-Janabi, who is the coordinator, Global Water and Climate Adaptation Center, APN Bangkok, Chennai, Dresden, ABCD. So the center is called ABCD Center at Technical University of Dresden, Germany. Dr. Al-Janabi has a PhD in Water Resources Management and Climate Change, a master's degree in Hydroscience Engineering, focusing on flash floods, nowcasting and early warning systems, had a solid background in civil engineering through his bachelor's studies. During his professional career, he has worked at national, regional, and international levels on technical assistance, flood risk management, early warning systems, water and data scarcity, and capacity building programs. Thank you very much, Dr. Al-Janabi, for joining us today. I invite you now to share your talk.
Thank you very much for the introduction. If you allow me to share my screen, this would be cool.
Yes, you may please do. Yeah, you have the permission to share.
Okay, now you can see my screen, yes?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I think we are coming to a point where we understood a lot, at least in this workshop, that what climate change can do and what we need actually, and how this puts stress on our resources, on water and health. So the government of Germany, the foreign, I think I have so the German Academic Exchange Service, through the fund of the Federal Foreign Office of Germany, decided to open 8 centers, international centers in Germany. 4 of these centers has to do with water and climate, and the other 4 centers with water, with climate and health. And the ABCD Center is one of these centers. It's the Global Water and Climate Adaptation Centers, where the water and the water security is the core of this center. We are trying to focus and try to be a hub for the water security and climate adaptation. If you see here from the ABCD Center, A for Aachen, Germany, B for Bangkok, Thailand, C for Chennai, India, and D for Dresden, Germany. We have also worked with the United Nations University Flores in Germany, in Dresden. And together as project partners, we are working together in this under the umbrella of the ABCD Center. What we are doing is we are trying to be a global hub for water security and climate change. You know, what are the, we are trying also to do this through 3 clusters. The first cluster is we focus on water security, water resources management, water supply, and water treatment. We have cluster 2, we have focus on the ecosystem resilience, natural-based solutions, adaptation measures, and the cluster 3 is one of the important clusters that we try to transfer this knowledge to on different levels, to the politicians, to communities, to try to make transfer strategies for climate adaptation, combining the traditional knowledge with the local economics and the society of acceptance. And as you know, each country, although we are suffering from the same problems regarding water, regarding climate, but I think we need to tailor our solution to fit each country and each case. And for that, we need to understand first the basics, to understand the problems, and then we try to find adaptation plans for each individual case. What are the pillars of the center? We are trying to make teaching by, we are trying to now to build a new joint master program called Water Security and Global Change. What's special about this master program is we are going to teach this master program in 4 universities. So students, if they are sitting in Germany or in Thailand or in India, then they are going to receive lectures at the same time from Germany and from Bangkok, for example. So under the living lab and digital classrooms, and focusing on this. At the same time, we are also giving different types of scholarships for future environmental leaders and also for short movement from the global south to Germany and the other way around. We also try to focus on PhD research work, living lab, by supporting these future environmental leaders by coming to Germany and try to develop the research ideas, focusing on water security and how to transfer the strategies from science to policy or from science to action. And of course, we are using through the transfer, the innovation centers. We have already some huge network by existing programs like CIPSEM, Prisma, innovation centers from the IIT Madras and IIT Bangkok. If you see here in this picture, you see how the work of each organization, each institute, from the RWTH Aachen to the TU Dresden, IIT Bangkok, IIT Madras, what they have together and how we are going to build this new joint master program in the center by using what we have already exist and also creating new possibilities and new opportunities. What our idea is, we wanted to reach this to digitalization and sustainability. Also, we're trying to focus on reducing the CO2 emissions, reduce the movement. So we try to focus on digital classrooms and living labs where students need a minimum move to during their studies, and also to focus on that. Of course, we wanted to go beyond or further with this hybrid format of the events and try to use all the possibilities. Of course, the in-person meeting is very important, but I think need to be limited to in order to really focus on reducing the CO2 emissions. As Dr. Linda already mentioned before in his presentation, that as you see that we have water security and water resources management that we need, ecosystem resilience and natural base adaptation is important, and transfer strategies for climate adaptation. These are these three pillars of the center, and this all under the climate change, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, especially the 6 and 13. Of course, you have the 14, 15, 9 and 11, but all together try to use all this combination under the umbrella of the ABCD Center to tackle and to solve and try to find solutions that normally can be achieved through the research of the ABCD Center, future environmental leaders, and also the lectures, for example. This is one of our events. We wanted, after a year, we decided to go for a visit for Chennai to meet our colleagues there and also further develop our center's idea. And this is a visit from this month. What we are trying to achieve by 2025, because this is the first period of fund, we think that the fund will continue until the end 2030, but at least for the first period, we wanted to provide study and doctorate opportunities in different topics in the direction of global water and climate adaptation. We wanted also to be assured and also try to provide the market with a very high scientists that normally very good qualified in the employment market. We wanted to establish research capacity for matters regarding climate and environment. We wanted also to increase the network. This is one of the reasons that we are here. We wanted also the people to know that ABCD Center is here. We wanted also to learn from you and to exchange. We wanted also to have we have scientific new scientific funding to be transferred, because not all the scientific results can be transferred to practice. The climate and environmental footprint of education by reducing the CO2 emissions, for example. What we have for the next steps, of course, advance in the program, because we are building this water security and global change master program. continue with supporting the PhD students through a future environmental leaders and also support master student. Unfortunately, I'm sharing with you now the, I see the chat sharing with you the ABCD Center is under maintenance now. I think it will be open in 2-3 days. And you can find already now some calls for full funded master scholarships for 2 years from students from the Global South to come to Germany. And the deadline will be the 15th of June. So I encourage everybody to apply. I think the website hopefully will be on again in 2-3 days. So try to copy this link and try to apply for the scholarships. We wanted also to attract new funding through proposal writing within the project partners and also beyond. If any organization, institute, university is interested to working with us, then we are very happy to try to find a way that we can really bring a project that we can work together and also increase the network, as I said. I think this is all my presentation. Thank you very much. If you have any question, anything, please write me an email. This is my personal email and this is the center email. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Al-Janabi. I think that's wonderful. I'm sure students would have a few questions for you, given that it is of interest to them. But your master's program is pretty exciting. You know, it is interesting. I too am interested in that. So it's amazing. What are the prerequisites for this? Like any eligibility criteria that you have for the master's program? Like, of course, a graduate degree, but in any discipline?
This is more in water and climate change. So if you are from if you are a PhD, for example, we support a different PhD scholarship for 1 year for scientists from the Global South to come to Germany. So they are doing their PhD in the water and in climate change topics, tackling water security issues. They apply, they receive funds, they came to Germany. We have already supported 2 batches already from last year, this year, to develop their ideas and try to publish something and try to find really the way that we can support the umbrella of the ABCD Center in really tackling the global water and climate change. For the future, this is what I'm saying, that the funded master program, full scholarships, will be 2 in TU Dresden, 1 will be under the Master Hydroscience and Engineering, where the science student can study for 2 years topics about flood risk management, urban water management, watershed management, and different other topics. And also the other one is tropical forestry. So I encourage everybody to apply.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think Dr. Lindner has raised his hand, so let him provide his comments, and then I have a few more questions.
Yeah, thank you. Just to add, like for the new master course is still in development, so it's not finished yet. But you see, like the expertise in this project is mainly by technical universities. So there will be a certain focus on engineering sciences, but not only. We want to create a master course, which then, as I mentioned also briefly in my presentation, people who are able to communicate to decision makers, who can talk to communities. So there will be an engineering part, obviously, but also it will tackle to other disciplines to give really this holistic package of education.
Thank you very much. My other question was, since there are 4 partnering universities which are there, how is the degree being granted? Is it being granted by the ABCD Center or any particular university?
This is a very good question, actually. We are trying now, we are focusing on making a joint degree. It means that if you study in Dresden and Aachen, then at the end you receive a D1 degree with 4 logos of all the universities. It's not that easy. It's very difficult. We are trying to build that, and we will see either we go in the option with a double degree where you can get a double degree. It's also not that easy, but we are in the process. We are meeting almost every 2-3 weeks in a study science scientific study group where we are discussing all these details regarding the new master programs. Although these 2 funded or the 4 funded master scholarships will be on existing master programs in Germany. And hopefully that our new master program, Water Security and Global Change, will be open. The plan was from the October 2023. This was planned, and hopefully we are keeping with that, hopefully, not with a delay.
My next question is, I'm asking on behalf of the students because often, we are bombarded with some. My next question is on, is there a possibility that a student does a year, like a twinning program? So does 1 year in, for instance, in Chennai, IITM Chennai, and goes for the second year to Dresden, or they have to be enrolled in Dresden for this program?
You mean now for the fund, this full scholarship, or for what exactly?
Yeah, full scholarship. Yeah, for the scholarship program, is it possible that they do a year in their respective country and then go for their?
I think now for this funded now for this October 2023, 2022, this is a study all in Germany. But the plan for the new master program is that you do a study, you sit 3 semesters in your university and you have 1 move semester. So if you are from IIT Bangkok or if you are from a different university, you study there 3 semesters. One of these semesters, maybe the second, maybe the third, could be in Germany. So this is already planned in the processing.
Right. And yeah, so that's there. There was one more question that I had in mind was, it's just slipped, I was so engrossed. Maybe I'll ask you, maybe I'll write to you about that. That was, that's again related to the program that I want. Okay, I wanted to understand that your project period is 2021 to 2025, right? That's the project period that you showed at the beginning.
Was that the first fund that came, and
So what happens after that? So how long, like, is the center, the sustainability of the center?
I think we are in, we believe that the fund will continue. So at least a second period of fund. At the same time, we are now depending on the German Academic Exchange Service, the DAAD fund. And I think after some time, after some years with the project partners, we will try to keep the fund coming from different sources. So we are trying to keep the center running and also not depending on only one source of funding. So this is our approach.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Anybody else has questions, please feel free to raise your hand.
If you don't have a question, if you are shy, if you don't want to ask, write me an email, because I know already it's not that easy. Write me an email, ask your question, check the website in 2-3 days, hopefully will work. This is not the official website. We are going to launch new website with ABCD, but this one will get the information at least for the next few weeks.
Firas, the link which, ma'am.
Yeah, please. Yeah, go ahead, please.
The link, like lots of our, like ma'am, my students are also now just finished the program, and they are looking for the scholarship. So for them, it's also a good opportunity. The link you send is not working.
It's not working. It's under maintenance. It will be working in 2-3.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Okay, then I will relay the message on the same way, and also provide your email address to them. It's okay. I hope so.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Any specific reason why the link is .in?
Because we, as trying to make the one of the project partners is IIT Madras in India. So they are responsible now to build the website, but the website will be changed to www.abcd-center.org. But this might take some time. So you can open this website in IIT Madras in India, where ABCD Center now is hosted there, website, and we will be launching the website later, and all information will be there also. Sorry for that.
No, thank you so much. No, I'm just trying to just clarify a few things. So we have a person, Muqtadir from Bangladesh, who has raised his hand. Can you please go ahead and ask your question?
Yes, thank you. So my question is there a scholarship is only applicable for the students from India, Thailand, I mean, the partners of ABCD, or other students from other countries can also apply in this scholarship? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. The scholarship is open for all Global South countries. Any student from the Global South can apply. There is no, we have project partners, but doesn't mean that the scholarship will be only from the project partners or from the project countries. So anybody qualified for the scholarship can apply. I think later on I will share the call of the PhD with Dr. Minuka, and then she can share with you all the call, and then you can apply.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the web, yes.
Yeah, you can continue, Chris.
Unfortunately, the website is not running now, so you can see it and you can see the call, but I will send it to Dr. Minuka, and then she will share it with you all. And I think you will find all the details. If you have any extra questions, write me.
We have created the WhatsApp group and also group email. Once I get information, Fazil ma'am will share all of you to that information.
I will share it immediately after the, I can even share it now, after the, directly after the event.
Thank you. I think we have just exceeded a little bit. I think that much is allowed. It was a really interesting, very, very interesting session that we had today. And there's so much to, if I start concluding, there's a lot, I have almost a concept note written in front of me. So I think it's very, very important that probably that we do take an integrated approach. We do look at we do take community into consideration, which is very, very strongly emerged. We do look at the risks that are there. We prioritize them. We judiciously work towards looking at taking a nexus approach, which in fact Professor Kansal brought out, the food, water, energy nexus approach that we take on. Governance was highlighted very strongly. Aquifer mapping came out again. The community managed ecosystem, of course, was there. Migration and its impact, tourism in the region was brought out. Gender and agriculture and water management was again something which strongly emerged through that. And I think all the many points that I have captured through my notes, and we will get through the recording, we will try to use them to build our questionnaire when we carry out a vulnerability study in the region. The study is going to be carried out in Nepal and Bangladesh. We will keep in mind, perhaps, for vetting of the questionnaire, we may need help from the experts who have joined us today as well. So on behalf of the partnering organizations here, I would like to thank all the distinguished speakers, Dr. Madan Lal Shresht, who's the APN representative, Dr. Musharraf, Dr. Menuka, Professor Kansal, Dr. Lindner, and Dr. Al-Janabi for taking out time and joining us today. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day ahead. We will continue. In fact, you're free to stay back because we have a little break in between, about 15 minutes break. Am I right?
Ma'am, we have a photo session one.
Dr. Minuka, I have already sent you the call on your email.
Okay. In my email? Or
Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, we have one closing photo session, group photo session, and then the break.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm really sorry. All of you, please switch on your videos. All the students and everyone, if you can switch on your videos, we can have a photograph. Huh? I see my other partners as well, Dr. Sara, Dr. Sudeshnath. Thank you for joining. Can everybody switch on your videos, please? That's amazing. Can we have more people switch on the video?
Just
Okay. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
And we go. Oh, we have more people switching on.
I'll do one more, okay?
Yeah. 3, 2, 1, go. Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot.
We'd like the students to remain and If the professors have time, they can remain, but otherwise, we'd like the students to remain. Menuka is also going to be there, and Khushbu.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Firas, and all of you. Now we will sit together with our student. Bye-bye virtually.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I will share
Bye.
all information of your with the students. Now, I guess we have some break period of time. No?
We can, instead of that, if the students are okay, we can continue their introductions and then close the session early, if that works.
Yeah.
Whichever, whatever the students want to do. I mean, we are fine with either.
I would like to leave.
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Not an
Sure,
That
sure,
works.
sure.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah, sure. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
throat
Excellent,
is-
excellent moderation. Excellent. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Students, would you like to have a break, a 10 minutes break before you continue, or would you like to do your introductions? We'll give you a couple of details of the program, and then we'll close the session. Whichever you would prefer is what we would go by. If you
I
could
think
write in
we
the chat box, you want to continue, yes or no, you can tell me, or you want a break.
Yeah, there is no poll system. Otherwise, we could have taken poll.
I can't launch the guides. I'm not
Yeah.
also.
You can continue
Okay.
the session. Break, please. We have got one break, please.
But
Break for 15 minutes.
let's-
Two break for 15 minutes. Okay.
let's hear
one-
from the Bangladesh because I think Sarah,
Because you have to break your
break-
fast as well.
Yeah, you're fasting from the Bangladesh, yeah.
So
Sarah?
what we'll do is,
Yeah.
so
We have
Considering
1 more hour.
I think we can take 5-minute break and then join.
yes, yeah,
so
we'll do that.
now 5 minutes for Nepal, yeah. Just take a whatever 5 minutes in each country's time.
Yeah. In Nepal, we'll start at 5:05. Menuka ma'am, I think 5 minutes is finished.
Krishna, we can slowly start.
We can start. We can start.
All of you are there. Khushbu, you should start from the housekeeping rule.
Okay, ma'am. Hello everyone, namaste. This is Khushbu Paudel from Nepal. I'm working as a research assistant for this project. So I already mentioned before also, while in your chat, in your name, you should write how to write your name in the format I have already given you. So I can request those participants who haven't done that, please write your name accordingly, like Khushbu Paudel _ Nepal. NPL for Nepal, IND for India, and BGD for Bangladesh. First, we'll start the program, introduction program. I think you have to give a brief introduction, mainly focusing in 3 areas: your name, your background, and why are you interested in joining this training session. So with this, I think we'll start the introduction part.
We can go with the name list, which I can see in from the participants. So I will call by, and you can just state your name, country, and subject, and then why you are interested in the academy. First one is Abriti Mokhtan.
You can switch on your cameras just for that moment when you introduce
Hello,
yourself.
everyone. Thank you, ma'am. The beginning session was amazing. I really enjoyed. I'm Abriti Mokhtan from Darjeeling, and I work at ATRI, Ashoka Trust for Research in Ecology and Environment. I really got interested in this program because I'm starting off with a new project, which is on water security. And currently I have to work on the journey mapping of the water service providers in the rural region of Sikkim and Darjeeling. So I thought this program would really help me to understand the whole issue of water in a more nuanced way. Thank you.
Thank you, Abriti. Maybe Sudeshna and Shara will find out you in while working in the Sikkim. Both of you, your site is in Sikkim, no?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Both they both are working in the Sikkim. So maybe in future, yeah.
Sure.
Then
it would be nice to connect. Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome, Abriti, to the academy. And now we'll go for the Anjesh Mishra. Anjesh, are you there? Then we'll go to Anupa Sharma. Anupa?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Anupa Sharma, currently pursuing my master's degree in natural resource management and rural development in CAFCOL, Kathmandu Forestry College, Nepal. I am interested in this course because as we know that the water security is the rising issue, and our country, mainly Kathmandu, faces a lot of problem in this water issue. So I got interested seeing that cause, and I'm looking forward to know more from this also. Thank you.
Thank you, Anupa. Welcome to the academy. And now Arpan Lama.
Hello, good evening, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. My name is Arpan Lama, and I'm from Siliguri presently, and I'm doing my PhD from North Bengal University. Actually, I'm interested in this field because and this program because I'm doing my PhD in water scarcity of Darjeeling Municipal Town, and recently I had completed my 1 year and looking forward for the submission of my synopsis. And thank you so much for ma'am and everyone for giving me this opportunity. And I hope I will enjoy and learn much and more from this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Arpan. We will also have very pleased to have you, all of you. Now Ismat Ara. Ismat, are you there? Then we go Faria Islam from Bangladesh. Faria, are you there? Then Gokarna Dhakal from Nepal.
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, I am Gokarna Dakal from Nepal. Currently, I am studying master's degree in natural resource management and rural development in Kathmandu Forestry College, which is located in Koteshwar, Kathmandu. As our country Nepal is rich in water resources, despite that, we have faced various water scarcity problems, especially in Kathmandu, and I am from Kathmandu too. That's why I'm interested in this program, as this program will help us to solve the scarcity of water resources and the water security. That's why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you, Gokarna. Now we will have Harikala Chetri from India. Just one request. This is a virtual meeting, so I know that there's an internet problem. Just while giving introduction, just to show your face, because in future, maybe if you meet, we can recognize each other. Yeah, then you can turn off your video. Harikala.
Good evening, everyone. I think my video, I think my camera is not working.
No problem. You can show your face tomorrow as well, Harikala.
Yeah. Ma'am, I'm doing my PhD from North Bengal University, and my PhD topic is on water security and the role of water vendors in Kalimpong. So it's a small urban area. So I'm working on that.
Thank you so much. And now we have Gokarna Khushbu. We will do later on. Mohammad Hilal Ahmed from Bangladesh. Mohammad, are you there?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm Hilal Ahmed. I'm from Bangladesh. I'm doing my MSc in Institute of Water and Plant Management, BUET. And the reason I'm doing this session is because this APN Academy is working on water security issues. So do I, and I, as you know already, that I am a student of water resource development. So I want to solve the problem currently is having in Bangladesh right now is groundwater problem, and I'm working on a project on groundwater problem, which is trying to solve the groundwater in agricultural sector. So I'd like to learn some new knowledge about the water security issue around our basin, like India, Bangladesh, and Nepal also. So that I can learn new knowledge and new tools to solve our current issues in Bangladesh.
Thank you, Ahmed. Now we will have Muqtadar from Bangladesh. Muqtadar, are you there? Yes.
Everyone, yes, I am here.
We can see now, yes.
Muqtadar. Right now I am doing masters at the Institute of Forestry and Environmental Sciences, University of Chittagong. So I'm interested in this course because as a student of forestry, we know that forests play a pivotal role in case of watershed management. So I think the knowledge of water security would help me to understand the interaction between forest and watershed management and water security. And that would help me in my future research prospect. And it would also help me to understand the future challenge, which my country is going to be faced, and how we can solve this challenge in water security. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Muqtadar. Now we have a Nurja from Bangladesh. Nurja, are you there? Yes. You have to unmute, Nurja. You are muted. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Nurjahan Begum from Bangladesh. I have recently completed my graduation in environmental science from the Institute of Forestry and Environmental Science, University of Chittagong. I intend to work on a water security related topic in my master's thesis. So I joined this program actually.
Thank you, Nurja. Welcome to the academy. Now we will go to the Rifat from Bangladesh. Rifat, are you there? Then we will go to Saifullah from Bangladesh. Saifullah, are you there? Yes.
Assalamualaikum everyone. I am Saifullah Said. I am doing my master's in Institute of Water and Plant Management, BUET. I have interest towards the water security issues in Hindukush Himalayan region. I want to learn and gain knowledge from this training. Thank you all.
Thank you, Saifullah. Then we go to Sangya Mishra from Nepal. Sangya? Yeah, you are.
Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Sangya Mishra. I'm currently pursuing my master's degree in Tribhuvan University, Nepal, under the Department of Hydrology and Meteorology. And being a hydrology student, more focused towards the upper higher mountain cryospheric studies, this workshop primarily aligns with my master's thesis. Its topic regarding the artificial glaciers making or the ISIS Stupa projects. So I hope to gain a lot of more insights from this workshop. Thank you.
Thank you, Sangya. Now we have a Santanu Samant from India. Santanu, are you there? Then we'll go to the Sumana from Nepal.
Namaste, everyone. My name is Sumana Chitri, and I'm from Nepal. And currently, I'm pursuing my master's degree from Kathmandu Forestry College, Tribhuvan University in Natural Resource Management and Rural Development course. And I'm interested in this training because I want to gain some insights on key water security issues and its challenges and to cope up with such challenges. And thank you. Happy Earth Day to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Sumana. Now we have Tanya Chaudhary from India.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, Tanya.
Very good afternoon to everybody and a very happy Earth Day. I'm Tanya Chaudhary and I have completed my master's from University of North Bengal and currently gonna pursue my MPhil degree from University of Adelaide, and I intend to work on river degeneration issue. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. If anyone is missing whom I forget to take a name, you can raise your hand and introduce our.
Rifat from Bangladesh was
Ismat is there. Please, anyone who was missing before. Faria. Faria, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Faria Islamo. I have completed my BSc from Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology, and I am currently continuing my master's from there. This program got me interested because we all know that water scarcity is a burning issue in today's world. So I'm planning to do my higher studies in this sector. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Faria. Anyone remaining, just raise your hand. Then the Khushbu.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Namaste, everyone. My name is Khushbu Paudel. I have done master's degree from Kathmandu University in Environment Natural Resources, and my thesis topic was on water management, especially focusing on water quality of river. After that, I'm working as a development professional in the field of climate change and disaster and resilience. And now currently I'm also working with under Menuka ma'am in the same project as a research assistant. And I'm also interested in this topic because somehow in Nepal, as Menuka ma'am already said that 40 districts have been directly hit by drought in our country. So I think climate change have a bigger contribution in that. So I want to get more insight on this topic. And I think this training session will be very helpful for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now my two research partner, first Dr. Sarah Norin from BUET.
You want me to tell you why I am interested for this water security program?
We are a part of this. No, because previously we missed Sudesna and Shara, so that's the reason.
Okay, thank you. Nice to see all of you guys over here. This is Dr. Sarah Norin. I'm an associate professor back in Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology based at Dhaka. I basically work on groundwater issues, but professionally I work in every sector of water. So that's how we came in a collaboration with Sudeshna and Menuka in water security issues with our previous experience of working under Himalayan University Consortium workshop. That's how we all met.
Thank you. Now over to Sudesna.
Hi, it's lovely to have all of you here. So good evening, and I'm Sudeshna. I head a climate action department in Dr. Reddy's Foundation, but my PhD primarily dealt with water security and climate smart agriculture in the northeast of India and in the HKH region. So that's why I'm part of this program. And as already Sarah said, that we met through the HUC platform, and we are hoping that you use this platform to meet and make your own networks, go forward, have more projects. So that's why we are very happy to have you on this platform, and hope that the next 6 days that we have across the 3 weeks are going to be helpful for you in understanding some concepts, but also learning something and making, for me, it's always about making networks. So making a strong network that will help you in your future. Okay. Lovely to have you all here.
Thank you so much. Anything remain to say? Yeah, just to remind, Friday program is will start from the 3 p.m. Nepali time, but Saturday it will start from 2 p.m. Nepali time. So don't be confused with that one. So from tomorrow, our actual session will start, and we have already provided you the schedule. We have a different resource person on different day. You can have it's a mixed model. Some days you will get the information about the geospatial solution. Some days with the past analysis. Some day with the PRA. Some way with the all. As water is a you heard lots of people as a multidisciplinary, transdisciplinary, transboundary issues. So every aspect of the water will be discussed during the academy. Not only we will share, but we will also like to hear from you as well. Like we have lots of PhD student. We want to hear their experience as well. So it will be like, both way interaction rather than the one way. We will expect from you.
Yeah,
So,
and you will interact with each other as well by time, by talking over these programs. We hope that you will get to know each other as well, because the way we make our network, we are hoping the way that you will make your own network and do a project just like us.
And also we created one is a group email. Some student doesn't have don't have a workshop, so we will always post everything, whatever we post in the workshop group chat, we will always post in the email as well. So those who don't have a workshop still can get the information. And I say, as Sarah and Sudhana said, we never meet each other at the same point at the same time. Means I met Sarah in one place, I met Sudeshna in place, but we three never have in a place, but we make a one collaboration and apply for APN. So, in this modern time with this virtual facility, it's really, really possible. And there is a CIPSEM, these two resource person from the speaker from the Germany, I made during this CIPSEM training course. Lots of people who you are also eligible to apply, especially PhD student. You can really apply before because of a COVID pandemic, it was online, but now they are again starting with the virtual one. You can go to the CIPSEM page and there are short courses as well. Every year we'll have a different courses, so you can apply that one as well. And Firas already sent me the scholarship list in my email. I will add this with send it to Khushbu, and she will share with you through an email as well as WhatsApp group. And also there are some information chat you can copy. If you don't find it or there's a difficulty, just let us know. I will provide you. So it's just not for the 6 days. It's beyond this more, that for future one, for applying for project, for applying scholarship, or if you have any query regarding a PhD or any other lecture, or that so there's have a PhD in water security in Sikkim. I think she has a more extent with the Sarah. So if any problem with the Gantok and Sikkim and Darjeeling people, they can really connect with these two people. So we will hope our interaction will be a 2 ways for all these 6 days, and this journey will begin. Will go far away. Anything?
Thank you, Monica. Is there any student will be, interested to do the, representative for other people? Maybe at the end of this program, we will ask someone to hand over your network so that any kinds of informations can be passed between all of you guys. So think about it. If you find really interesting and wants to continue this network, maybe you don't know each other right now, but we by the end of this program, of course, I am hoping that you will have a strong connection the way we three of us have now. So best of luck, and think about that who is going to be the leader for this group next time.
And we'll meet you all tomorrow at 2 o'clock, 1:45.
Yeah,
respective times.
Yeah, I will just say 2 p.m. Nepali time. Otherwise,
So
I'll just
15
mess it
minutes
up.
earlier for all the Indian participants, 15 minutes later for all the Bangladeshi participants, and we'll be finishing by 5 tomorrow.
5:30.
We're
Yes.
finishing 5 today also, so tomorrow also we'll be finishing by 5. So see you all tomorrow. Happy Ramadan, Ramzan to people who are celebrating that, and have a good night. And we will see all of you tomorrow at 2
p.m.
If
Nepali
any
time.
of them have any questions, because I have seen Khushbu was trying to say something maybe.
Okay, yeah, sure.
So you can ask, and otherwise we'll be closing this ceremony over here.
Yeah.
No, ma'am.
Anyone?
It was already addressed.
Okay.
That's
fine.
Yeah. Okay, then see you tomorrow 2 p.m. Have a nice evening and Ramadan. Yeah, those who have a fasting. Thank you so much participating in this program. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.